Hey, 6th grade, I hope all is well. Today we're going to be talking about time zones in the U.S., which we briefly touched on yesterday when we talked about time zones in general. Now we're being U.S. specific. So time zones typically start at a specific longitude line, but they don't go straight down. Sometimes they'll be kind of along the edges of state borders or along the edges of rivers, things like that. It's not a straight line typically, though. So we did one of these charts yesterday where it gives us certain times in a specific time zone, and then we have to figure out what the time will be in those other time zones. And as a reminder, when we go to the east, we gain an hour each time. When we go to the west, we lose an hour each time. So on A, if it is noon in the Pacific time zone, if we go west to the Alaska time zone, it would be 11 a.m. Further left, further to the west, with the Hawaii Aleutian time zone, it would be 10 a.m. Then going to the right, to the east, the mountain time zone would be 1 p.m., central would be 2 p.m., and eastern would be 3 p.m. Okay, on B, it gives us eastern time of 8 a.m., so central time would be 7 o'clock a.m., mountain time would be 6 a.m., Pacific time would be 5 a.m., Alaska time would be 4 a.m., and Hawaii Aleutian would be 3 a.m. With these charts, if it has minutes involved in the time, definitely write it like a normal time. You would like that. If it's just on the hour, I'm okay with you writing 4 a.m., 4 p.m., whatever it is. Okay. On C, it starts us out with Hawaii Aleutian time zone at midnight, which would be 12 a.m. So Alaska would be 1 a.m., 2 a.m. for Pacific, Mountain would be 3 a.m., Central would be 4 a.m., and Eastern would be 5 a.m. So when it is midnight in Hawaii, it is 5 a.m. here. Okay, on D, it gives us 3:30 p.m. in the Alaska time zone. So to the west in Hawaii, it would be 2:30 p.m. In Pacific time zone, California, it would be 4:30 p.m. The Mountain time zone would be 5:30 p.m. The Central time zone, which is a pretty good chunk of the U.S., would be 6:30 p.m. And Eastern us would be 7:30 p.m. Okay, on E, it gives us a mountain time zone of 6:15 a.m. So, Central time, that would be 7:15 a.m. And Eastern time will be 8:15 a.m. Going to the west, the Pacific, it would be 5:15 a.m. Alaska would be 4:15 a.m. and Hawaii Aleutian would be 3:15 a.m. So if you're waking up in Eastern time zone at 8:15, don't call your friend in Hawaii at 3:15 a.m. That would not make them happy. For F, it gives us a central time of 5:05 p.m., which would make it 6:05 p.m. here in Eastern time zone. In the Mountain time zone, it would be 4:05. And the Pacific, it would be 3:05. And the Alaskan, it would be 2:05. And in the Hawaii Aleutian, it would be 1:05 p.m. Make sure you are going back and putting whether it is AM or PM. Some of them, you can figure it out pretty easily. Some of them, like when you have your different times that are close to midnight or noon, you might have to think about it a little bit. So I hope this is making sense so far. On 2, we're doing the same thing. It's just they present it to us in word problems. I've already kind of written most of it out like these though. So if it's 2A, 6 p.m. in Atlanta is what time in Salt Lake City. So we look at our map that's on page 277, And we're looking for Atlanta is Eastern time zone. Salt Lake City is Mountain time. So they said 6 p.m. in Atlanta. So it'd be 5 p.m. in Central, 4 p.m. in Mountain time. So 6 p.m. in Atlanta is 4 p.m. in Salt Lake City. Okay, B, 1:15 a.m. in Little Rock. It wants to know what time it is in Buffalo. So Little Rock is right here in Central, and Buffalo is in Eastern. So we would gain an hour. So if it's 1:15 a.m. in Little Rock, it is 2:15 a.m. in Buffalo. Buffalo's in New York. Okay, it wants to know noon in Wichita is what time in Reno. So Wichita, right here in Central time zone, and Reno is in Pacific time zone. So if it is noon here, it is 11 a.m. here, and it is 10 a.m. in Reno. Okay, on D, Tim left Detroit, which is in Michigan, at 7:25 p.m. and flew 5 hours to Boise, Idaho. What time was it when he arrived? Well, 7:25, 8:25, 9:25, 10:25, 11:25, 12:25 a.m. So 12:25 a.m. in Detroit is what time in Boise, is basically what it's asking. So Detroit is right here in Eastern. Boise is over in Mountain. So if it is 12:25 a.m. right here, a little after midnight, this will be 11:25 p.m. and 10:25 p.m. So he arrived in Idaho at 10:25 p.m. Okay, 7:30 a.m. in Jacksonville, Florida is what time in Portland, Oregon? Well, Jacksonville, Florida is Eastern time zone. Portland, Oregon is Pacific time zone. So if it is 7:30 here, it is 6:30 here, 5:30 here, 4:30 here. So it would be 4:30 in Portland, Oregon, and that is a.m. All right. Then it wants us to go back and work on some temperature conversions. So I wrote our formulas up there. Fahrenheit equals 9/5 Celsius plus 32. Celsius equals 5/9 times the quantity of whatever the Fahrenheit is minus 32. So 3a, we have 28 degrees Celsius, and it wants to know Fahrenheit. So I know my Celsius, so I'd use this formula. So Fahrenheit equals 9/5 times 28 over 1, and that's going to be plus 32. I can't simplify that any, so I just have to multiply. 28 times 9. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 2 is 18. Plus 7 is 25. Okay, so then it would be F equals 252 over 5 plus 32. So we'd see how many times 5 can go into 252 to make a mixed number. So 252, 5. 5 goes into 25 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. Subtract, you get 0. Bring down your 2. 5 goes into 2 0 times. 0 times 5 is 0. Subtract, you get 2. So it would be 50 and 2/5. 2/5 is less than half, so if I'm rounding to the nearest whole number, it would just be 50. 50 plus 32 is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, on B, we have 36 degrees Fahrenheit equals blank degrees Celsius. So, be 5/9 times 36 minus 32. Well, 36 minus 32 is 4, so it'll be 5/9 times 4 over 1. 5 times 4 is 20. 9 times 1 is 9. I would divide and see what that would come out to make a mixed number. I know that 9 goes into 20 2 times. 9 times 2 is 18. I would have 2 left over if I subtracted, so it would be 2 and 2/9. That is less than half, so I would round down to 2 degrees Celsius. Okay, on 4A, it wants us to do 22 degrees Celsius equals how many degrees Fahrenheit? So I would do 9 over 5 times 22 over 1, and then I'm going to eventually add 32. Can't simplify, so 22 times 9, 9 times 2 is 18, 9 times 2 is 18, 19, so it would be 198 over 5 plus 32. So then we do 198 divided by 5. 5 into 19 goes 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract, you get 4. Bring down your 8. 5 goes into 48 9 times. That would be 45. You get 3. So your mixed number would be 39 and 3/5 plus 32. That is more than half, so I'd round that up to 40. So 40 plus 32 would be 72 degrees Fahrenheit. B, 54 degrees Fahrenheit equals blank degrees Celsius. Well, 5 over 9 times 54 minus 32. So I come over here, 54 minus 32. 4 minus 2 is 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. So 5 over 9 times 22 over 1. Well, 5 times, this is kind of the reverse of that one. 22 times 5, instead of 9 this time, 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10, 11. So it would be 110 divided by 9. So if we solve that, 9 goes into 11 once. Subtract. You get 2. Bring down your 0. 9 goes into 20 twice. 18. 2. Bring down your 0. That would just be 0.2 repeating, which is less than half. So we would round down to 12 degrees Celsius. Okay, 5, it wants to know some area and perimeters. The first one, we have let me get back to that page in the book. 5A, we have a parallelogram. Our parallelogram formulas are 2 times length plus 2 times width for perimeter and base times height for area. And this is in meters for this particular parallelogram. So my sides, my base and my height were 8 and 3.2. Or sorry, my length and my width were 8 and 3.2. So 2 times 8 is 16. 3.2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 6.4. So it'll be 16 plus 6.4. So my perimeter would be 22.4 meters. For my area, I have a base of 8 and a height of 3. 8 times 3 is 24. This is area, so it would be meters squared. Okay. On C, we have a triangle. Our perimeter of a triangle is A plus B plus C. We're just adding up the sides. And our area formula is base 1/2 times base times height. So my sides are 8 and 8 and 10. So 16 plus 10 more is 26. So it'll be 26 feet. For my area, I have a base of 10 and a height of 6. So 1/2 times 10 is 5 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30. And since this is area, it is feet squared. Okay, on 6, it is a circle. It wants to know perimeter and area for. Remember, perimeter of a circle is circumference. Our diameter it gives us is 5 inches, so we can just plug that in. For circumference, our formula is pi times diameter. So 3.14 times 5. 5 times 4, sorry, it's a bad 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. 1, 2 decimals, 1, 2. So my circumference would be 15.7, and this is inches. And then my area is pi r squared. It doesn't give me r, but it gives me d. Remember, diameter is, if you have a circle, go all the way across at your diameter. If you just go halfway across, it's your radius. So radius is half of diameter. So my radius in this one, half of 5 would be 2.5. So first we square our radius. So we do 2.5 times 2.5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 5, 2, 6. 1 decimal, 2 decimal. So 6.25. So then I would do 6.25 times pi, which is 3.14. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. 0, everything times 1, so 5, 2, 6. 2 zeros. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 3 times 6 is 18. Add it up. 0, 0 plus 5 is 0 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. Plus 12, or plus 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. Plus 2 is 16. 8 plus 1 is 9. 1 plus nothing is 1. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimals. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So my area is going to be 19.625, and that is going to be inches squared, because area is always squared. Okay, I hope this is making sense. A lot of this section was review, and then we're still working on our time zones, which hopefully those are making sense. You just got to make sure you know where something is located. That's why it gave us that map on the other page. So I hope it's all making sense. If it's not, reach out to me on Jupiter or on Zoom. Stay safe. See you soon.